And we're back to the Fake Problems Podcast. Yo. So, this is the 4th episode that we've recorded, and we said that every month we were going to talk about a movie. And we did watch a movie. So I feel like it wasn't one that was too crazy, but I think it's worth breaking down. Because I went into this movie being like, I thought this was a really good scary movie. And the amount of plot holes that we poked in it in a matter of like 20 minutes of
it. Dude, we watched it with the sun up. That's the problem.
True. Once again, if you watch it by yourself, very different vibe. You're like, oh, fuck. But being around a bunch of dudes in daytime watching it, it was like, oh, man, this story kind of falls apart.
Dude, I missed the ending, too. I was too busy Googling that freaking clam.
The clam. All right, hold on. The movie is It Follows, by the way. Before we get too into this and talking about stuff, because no one's going to know what the fuck we're talking about. For the audience,
premature.
The thousands of people listening right now. Movie's called It Follows. I believe it came out around late 2010s, so like 2018 or 19. The premise of the movie is that there is this called a sexually transmitted disease that takes it's like a demon thing, essentially, that possesses people. But if you have it and you fuck someone else, they now have this thing following them, and it can take the shape of a person you love or anything. In the movie, it's typically most times
I feel like it's only people, because it was always people.
It's always people, and it's always, I mean, for the most part of the movie, it's something like disgusting. It's like got a girl with boobs always out.
Yep.
Peeing their pants, like disgusting thing that you'd be terrified to see. So premise is that beginning of the movie starts off, and we're not going to say the whole fucking thing, but starts off with this girl has a date with a guy has sex with her, and then like chloroforms her and takes her to the top of this abandoned, like
weirdly noble chloroform.
Noble? What do you mean?
Because he was trying to help her.
Okay, hold on. Yes. It is kind of, it's strange because but it's more to protect himself. I don't think there's any nobleness
it is more,
in it. Because you think about, like, he's doing that to create a buffer between him and the demon thing.
Right.
Because this guy has the demon.
Well, finish saying the rules, because...
Okay, yeah. So you have sex. The person who has the demon thing, if they have sex with someone, it spreads to the other person, and then the thing will follow that person until it kills them. Once it kills them, it'll move back to the person who... It's like a long line of people. If you fuck, you give it to that person. If they fuck, they give it to another person. And the demon will keep working down until it gets through every last person. So, we went into this movie. I watched it alone a bunch of times, thinking it's a pretty creepy concept, and especially the way that they portray the movie, when things are like walking towards you. Like the old lady's probably the worst one, in my opinion, which is the woman walking across the campus, or the very tall dude in the room is a little...
Yeah, that's always surprising when he shows up.
Yeah. So, I guess we started watching it, and... the first thing that came up is this is supposed to be like in the 1980s. And it goes to the scene with the girl, the main character, the protagonist, and like her friends. And one of the girls has this like clam, you know, like what's it called? Like what girls, like the little pocket mirrors for like
it's like a makeup thing.
That's what it looks like from the outside. But then the camera pans to this angle where it's like a Kindle. It's like this in her hand.
Yeah.
And it's in the... Was there stuff like that?
I never got to the bottom of it.
Yeah, you Googled and there was no obvious answer, right?
No. All I saw was one Reddit thread being like, what the hell is this? Same question.
Someone out there had the same thought of like, what the fuck is going on?
I think everyone had that question. There were no responses.
No. That's so weird.
There's no way it existed, though.
I don't think so. Because at one point, I was like, okay, maybe it could exist if it has literally like one thing on it. But then later in the movie... she's like, what are you reading now? And then she says a different thing. I'm like, oh, so it has memory storage in 1980s. Like the internet came out in the 90s. How do we have this Kindle thing?
We didn't have pocket computers.
Yeah. So that already plot hole. Within 5 minutes, this weird Kindle 80s thing.
When did like the Game Boy come out?
Oh, man. I mean, I don't fucking know. I don't know when it came out. We've had computers for a while. I know that.
Yeah.
But portable pocket ones like that? I don't know. Maybe it is real. Maybe we should have just looked up like 1980s. I don't know, computers, like portable computer stuff.
It's so weird that I feel like it must have been real now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, like why would they just plant that in the whole movie with the whole, it's like all 80s.
Because they knew the movie was below average and they needed people to talk about it.
They needed the clam.
Yeah.
This will definitely punch up the whole movie.
That's my biggest takeaway from the movie. What the heck was that?
Dude. So anyway, 10 minutes in the movie, already like, what the fuck is that? Already a vibe of like, no, okay. And then...
Dude, you made the mistake of overhyping.
Dude, the second I said that we should watch this movie, I thought about you saying, I don't recommend anything to anyone anymore. And I swear to God, it jinxed the whole fucking thing. As we sat down on this couch to watch it, I was like...
I didn't hate it. It wasn't bad.
Which I didn't get a vibe of like, this is so bad we need to shut it off. But I was like, this is definitely not what I thought it was going to be. You got in my head, dude.
Gave you the yips, the movie yips.
Yeah, it's true.
Also, when you wake up from chloroform, are you a little hazy? Probably a little.
I don't know.
I
would assume so, but who knows? We can try it. Next podcast, we'll just chloroform each other and then record us waking up off of chloroform and see how well it goes. And then none of us wake up and we just die.
Oh, God.
Dude, you can make chloroform from, I think it's ammonia and bleach. Damn. You can mix a lot of household things. I think it's actually isopropyl alcohol and ammonia, bleach and...
Why do you know this?
Chemical world, man. Yeah. If you mix bleach and... oh, my God. What is it? Fuck. There's a common combination. It'll make chlorine gas, the stuff they used to gas the Jews.
Oh, God.
Like, if you accidentally do it, it's a common household product. If you mix them, people die from this.
Didn't Walter White do that? Like the first episode? I thought he gassed someone in the RV.
Oh, no, I don't think that was that.
Okay.
I think it was something more chemically dense than, like, a common household accidental mix. Because this one, once again, people have died from this one of, like, they go to mop a floor and they mix bleach and... I think it's ammonia, but it'll make chlorine gas. And
oh my God.
The fumes will literally kill you. Like, you'll be like mixing it and then you'll just pass out and die. Yeah. So anyway.
Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know how we got here.
Wait. Why do people mix it? What do they think they're doing?
They think that they're getting more cleaning power from the thing.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, but you can't mix certain things. Just once again, isopropyl alcohol and I think ammonia or bleach, they make chloroform. So you could just make a ton of chloroform really cheaply in like a bucket.
Jeez.
But then you have to contain it because if you're in a closed environment, you're just going to be breathing in chloroform fumes and pass out. And then you won't wake up. If you're alone, or if there's, I guess everyone in the apartment, if it's a closed system, would just be knocked out. So.
Jesus.
Anyway, let's peel this back. What were we talking about before this, about the movie?
I don't even remember, dude.
I think, it was because the girl got chloroformed, and we're talking about if she got hazy. If you get hazy, wake up. Because she wakes up in the wheelchair after the guy chloroforms her.
That was more than enough explanation.
Yeah, we took deep dive into mixing household chemicals into making, like, killer fucking chemicals. The underlying theme of this whole thing is that everybody wants to fuck this girl. They find out that she has this demon STD, and there's, like, a line of dudes who are like, give it to me, I'll save you. But, like, it's just... It's dude.
Thinly veiled.
What a like a weird, obvious message of like, man, dudes just don't think at all. Especially high school men. When you're like just rampant with hormones, and this girl's like, listen, if you fuck me, this demon's gonna follow you for the rest of your life and then kill you. And you're like, yes. Like I will do that.
It's tough.
Yeah. It's terrible because I remember this movie being so good, and watching, I'm like, damn it, fuck.
Dude, that's what when you watch a movie with someone, unless it's like a certified banger,
right?
I prefer if no one's seen it because then we can all react. Like,
that's true, fair. But there are movies that it'd be really bad. I just thought if we watch Interstellar and we're like, what the fuck, this is so bad.
That's scary.
I've seen it so many times in the past, like 5 years. Like, dude, I've watched that movie. Whenever I'm feeling kind of down, the movie gets me in the right place. It's like, it makes you think about problems that are not on Earth because it's so space. It's like, your problems are so insignificant to a possible fourth dimension in the universe that exists. I'm like, yeah, you're right, Interstellar. You're right, Matthew McConaughey. You fucking know.
McConaughey in space. Unreal idea.
Once, we've talked about this briefly, many people have, but his ability to go from rom-com to that.
Oh, yeah.
Mind-blowing. Like,
reconnaissance.
Wow. Like, he was typecasted so hard. He couldn't do anything else. It was just rom-com after rom-com. He talks about this. He was like, I wanted to become a serious dramatic actor. And boy, did he do it. Yeah. Fuck, dude. That movie's amazing to me. I mean, Christopher Nolan, probably a huge reason, but the fact that Matthew McConaughey could be molded into this lead dramatic. Want to watch it now, dude. It sounds so good. After watching It Follows, god damn.
Yeah, cleanse the palate a little bit with Interstellar.
Yeah, dude. Should have done that Sunday.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's It Follows. It was kind of a movie I didn't expect for us to review.
Spoilers.
But this is the 4th episode that were recorded, so we said we're going to do one. Next one, we'll probably do either Roar.
I am psyched for Roar.
That one will be...
Except you've seen it, though, so...
No.
Wait, you haven't seen Roar?
No.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, this will be a new experience for both of us.
Perfect.
Just like Soul Man. I'm saving it for us, man.
I wasn't going to mention Soul Man, but all right, it's out there. We watched Soul Man.
Yeah, dude. It's a movie out there. I feel no shame. It's a movie made in the 80s that... I mean, out of everything, the fact that James Earl Jones, the man who voiced Darth Vader, sounds like Darth Vader just talking is insane.
No voice changer.
Nothing.
Never had one.
Nothing. He's just Darth Vader as a person. It's so good. But, okay. Off the movie stuff. Topics?
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it. I got hella topics. There's so many from last week that we didn't even get to. Like, I wrote so much stuff. Let's see. Where do we make... Oh, dude. Well, first one that's not that heavy, which is... I didn't know this, but Google can essentially tell the size of the entire internet. Like, you could download the whole internet.
Oh.
And it's about 5 million terabytes. Which
oh my God.
It's pretty crazy. Because they just have the history of all of the data of all the places that Google will bring you to.
Wow.
Which may not be all of them, but like 99% of all the websites. And it's 5 million terabytes, which it's a lot.
Can we, how much storage you need for that? Like, how much money would you have to pay for servers?
Oh, man. It's probably a fuck ton of money. Like, a lot of money. But also, I don't know. It depends where you're storing. Are you storing in cloud or are you storing in physical space?
Yeah.
Because cloud, typically a lot cheaper. But when you think of the cloud, it's just someone else's physical space. Like,
right, it's all servers.
It's weird that it's like, we have the cloud, but that's just servers that someone has somewhere.
It's a warehouse in Arizona.
Dude. So, yeah, I just saw that. I was like, what the fuck? But also, it would be funny to buy just like 100 hard drives and just download the internet. I guess a lot more than 100 hard drives. But just have a couple, just have servers worth of the internet, like static data that doesn't do anything. Of like, I have a snapshot of Google from 2023. Just sits in the corner of my house. Just download it one day.
It's like an art piece.
Yeah, dude.
Just have it. How fast do you think the internet grows every day?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, you got to think also of like how many things get removed. But there's probably a lot more being added at the same time. I don't know, man. That's a good question. Like how many people are just building websites?
Yeah, or just uploading stuff.
That's true. Because that probably happens a lot.
Video content. How much do you think YouTube grows every day? Storage-wise.
Oh, man. I don't know. And how do you fucking price that out? How as a company do you like scale that? They must have just... Dude, we're really getting into the weeds here.
They figured it out.
Yeah, I guess because they're doing it. And it's like, when have you ever seen Google or YouTube or Facebook being like, today you can't upload anything, we're running out of space?
That'd be a bad look.
They probably just have warehouses after warehouses after warehouses of servers.
Just on reserve.
Yeah. That they still probably have plenty of room to grow. But at the same time, as we move further into the future, there's better ways to compress data. So, like, we have ways of making data smaller, even though it's the same kind of data. Which, it's funny to say those things because I have no idea. It's like thinking about lightning striking and why that happens. Like... How is that possible? How are people, or how does someone invent this? Like a phone?
Dude, there's so much shit we just have no idea that we rely on.
Yeah. Dude, there's an old Joe Rogan bit talking about that. If the 1% of people die that know how to make stuff like this,
yeah,
everyone becomes cavemen again.
dude, what if our farmers die?
Oh, man.
We're screwed.
Thankfully, I feel like we have enough automation in place that we could probably figure that one out. It's probably no dishing on the farmers. We need them. Don't get me wrong. But I think that farming, it can't be... It's probably complex, but there's people have been doing it for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So the common man has been able to figure it out, as opposed to like creating a server board from scratch. Like, how would you?
Oh, that's impossible.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how would you know? Even if you had all the right things on the table,
if you have the machinery, just push some buttons.
Yeah, be like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know, but we wouldn't have any. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because you think of like Benjamin Franklin. Has like hundreds of patents. He was just a common man. But also back then, here's an argument I always get into.
Different time.
That's one side of the argument, but it feels like there was a time in human history.
Yeah. Keep going.
Okay, all right. I appreciate the support while I struggle through this brain fart. I also hate that phrase, brain fart.
I hate that phrase too.
It sounds like
first peeve, first.
Yeah, and I
said
it like the fucking dork I am, just saying fucking brain fart. Every time I hear it, I go, ugh.
It's just a cringy phrase.
Yeah, it's like what a second grade teacher would say when like someone doesn't know the answer to a question. Brain fart?
Yeah.
Like, oh, jump out a window. What do you eat, biscuits and gravy for breakfast? You fucking slob? Someone said slut.
Whoa, dude.
That doesn't make sense. I'm slutty for biscuits and gravy. Yes, went deep on that one. It's getting better than from our first
more
podcast.
About that though.
What?
Just
second grade.
No, what just came out of you right now?
The explosion of calling a second grade teacher, a slut over biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Just like, I keep referencing comics in this fucking podcast. I feel like such a simp. But Mark Normand, listening to recently, talking about how he'll get to a point in just his day-to-day where he has to say something like outlandish to just get rid of the boredom for him, because he feels like life starts... I get that sometimes where I want to say an outrageous thing just because I feel like either I'm creating it or the space around me is like there's nothing popping.
It impacts your environment.
Yeah, and then but
unless you just say it in a room.
To his point, he's saying like, I don't want to do it half the time, but I do it, and then immediately I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, like you just want to reel it back. Yeah, dude, that slut thing that I just did feels very much like that. Where like I say it because in my head I'm like, that sounds so much funnier, and then I'm like, fuck, why'd I say that? But anyway,
to millions of listeners around the world.
Yeah, there's so many people listening. It's essentially if like we were Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jack Black combined, all the people that follow them. Sorry, fan base.
It's like,
it was a curveball.
I thought you were comparing us to Dwayne "The Rock" and Black Jack. I was like,
Black Jack.
Jack Black's alter ego, Black Jack.
It's not even that funny, but the way it came off, Black Jack.
I don't know if I would have even noticed that if you didn't point it out.
Man, you gotta pay more attention, man. You can't be saying that shit in public.
I'm sleep deprived, dude. Stuff just leaks out of my face.
Are insomnia stuff or just what?
Work, getting up early, plus insomnia. It's a tough one too.
Fucking sucks, man. How did we get here?
Blackjack's also a card game.
True.
So
true.
Maybe that's why it came out.
Yeah, you can defend whatever you said. It's fine.
Just double down on it.
Just start saying blackjack to people. How did we get here first? I said the second grade teacher thing. We were talking about. How did we get to that? There was a point I was making before. I totally fucking forgot.
You were. I can feel your
there was something coming out. Second grade teacher. Brain fart.
That was before that. What was the thing before?
Oh, God. This couch is a piece of shit, dude. My elbow just went through wood. I heard it break, so that's good.
Sweet.
All right, we'll move on to the next thing. It'll come back to me, though.
Wait, what was the look at the topic that we were talking about?
It was the 5 million terabytes of data in the internet and downloading that. And then talking about if most people died, there would be like, or if the 1% of people who were really, really, really smart. And then Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, he said he was a common man.
I remember. You go farther back in time, there's an argument to be made that because not a lot of inventions exist, it's way easier to invent stuff.
Oh, for sure.
But then why isn't everybody inventing stuff? There's always like a 1% of people who continue to invent things. Like Benjamin Franklin's
What you're saying, if you go back through history, there's not a lot.
There's not a lot of, or there's a lot of opportunity for invention because not a lot of stuff has been invented. Like today, it seems it'd be almost impossible to invent something because there's.
Well, I think I agree with that, but also as we progress, it opens more opportunities to invent on top of other things.
But I feel like the barrier for entry to, well, I guess maybe no, because then the average man has more tools at his disposal to invent.
Yeah, like the pizza box guy.
Yeah, it's true.
Wasn't a need for that because no one was delivering pizza back in
That's true.
Franklin's
That's
day.
a good point. I'm now eating my own words on this because for a long time I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to go back and look through the history of like people who have the most patents and see what the percentages of people. I mean, probably obviously a very small percentage in general.
Yeah,
but to make something that no one's done in a world of 7 billion people, pretty impressive.
There's also a lot of patents that like aren't really.
It's
impressive.
like for a latch
it's
on a
small
thing,
modification to something.
True, and then people just make millions because it's on everything,
right?
Kind of situation. Yeah, like Benjamin Franklin invented the bifocals, which is pretty big. He invented, I think, the mail system, like the American,
the whole mail system.
Yeah, like the beginning of a centralized mailing system that people would go put their mail and it sends to their place and stuff like that, which is
sounds way harder than bifocals.
Yeah, a little bit. One's like shaping glass, the other's like creating kind of how do you go about being like, all right, here's where we put all this stuff, and how do people figure out where stuff is back in the day? I guess if towns are smaller.
Dude, I don't know how people navigated anything, even 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you remember the days of printing out MapQuest?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That was like, it was that,
nightmare.
And you started to have like the physical GPSs you could put up on your dashboard, like the TomToms.
I remember when that was crazy.
Yeah, and it was like, whoa, this thing had different voices you could do and stuff like that. Pretty cool. And now it's on our phone, easy.
I don't know street names anywhere.
Oh, man. Yeah, I guess.
I just follow a blue line. Takes me everywhere.
It's surprising how quickly you would learn it if you turn that stuff off. Like I did Uber for like 2 years. I delivered pizzas for probably like 4 in high school. But
seriously?
Yeah.
Didn't know that one.
Dude, I worked some crazy. I worked White Castle. I delivered pizza. I was a paintball referee. I worked at a doggy daycare. Dude, I did so many jobs.
Paintball that's good.
I was a workhorse,
I want to hear about that.
About being a paintball referee?
Were you a chatty Uber driver?
Yeah.
I could see
Which
that.
I hear people talking about how much they hate that.
Sucks.
But I feel like I have a good read.
Yeah.
Like I don't pry. Someone gets in my car.
Just dig into
Just
them.
immediately go, fuck, brain fart. Just fucking hate myself in the front seat. No, like someone would get in my car and be like, hey, how's it going? And they'd be like, good. And then if they're like, how are you doing? And, give them a little bit about my day. And then usually you can see if they, after I tell them about my day, if they're like, oh, nice, then we just stop talking.
Yeah.
But some people will be like, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And it was half the time, most people think you're just an Uber driver. And at that time, I was a regulatory specialist at a chemical company. So then, like, it's weird to see the dynamic of people like, oh, wait, you do that thing? And then, like, it piques a lot of people's interest to be like, you're 2 things? It's weird. Like, people just
That's
don't.
insane.
Literally, that reaction happened more than not. People like, what?
Yeah.
2 jobs?
Dude, I feel like Uber drivers just make stuff up sometimes.
Probably. I mean, like,
I feel like I would do that if I were an Uber driver.
Just like,
but no, they just tell stories that I'm just like, dude, what?
You call me a liar?
I think you're full of shit. I think you lie to a lot of people.
Just everybody. Yeah, if anything,
But like you could, it's like you're never going to see that person
absolutely,
again.
dude. You could say whatever you fucking wanted.
Yeah,
but it's I don't know. I learned a lot about people. I would say most people will talk or want to talk.
That's got to be amazing for just improving small talk.
Yeah, dude. You got to get really good at it.
Small talk.
Yeah, and it's funny too when you like how quickly the relationship degrades when you start going the wrong way. You're having a good time talking to this person, and they're like, "Oh, you just missed that street." And then it just gets so sour. Like if you lose, it's weird to see people losing money and immediately being like, "The fuck are you doing?"
Damn.
Yeah, dude. There was a couple times where there was like a family one time, and sometimes like, as you have probably experienced, the GPS things will take you to places. It just will misread where an address is, so it'll take you like literally the wrong location across town. And I took this family to a hotel that wasn't their hotel, like out of Milwaukee, and there was like downtown. Oh man, that dad rage. He was so upset. He was like, "Oh, nice." Like the most, I guess not like straight aggressive, but the most passive aggressive, like the disappointment you get from your parents kind of.
Yeah.
Where it's like, "You fucking little idiot." Not saying it, but you can read that in their face. I'm like, "Oh, this fucking
so awful too."
I just want to get out of the car. I would rather them have gotten out of my car and lose the money than that whole ride, because it was so terrible. So yeah, the Uber days, man. That was, I mean, good money if you have a car to just do it for. It's so much wear and tear, stopping and starting, and tons of miles. I put like 20,000 miles on my car in a year, which is pretty nuts. So yeah, but one of many jobs. We'll continue with some topics, and we can talk about some of the other jobs at some point later. There's so many. I mean, the paintball one's an extreme story. Gotten like not a civil suit. We'll talk about this at another point. Yeah. It was fucking wild. A lot of labor issues. Okay. We talked about the 5 million terabytes. Helen Keller. Now hear me out. She can't hear, so she couldn't hear me out. But you know who she is, obviously, right? The blind,
deaf,
and
dumb.
No. I think she could talk.
She could talk.
Yeah. But I guess you don't really have a good. What do your words sound like when you're blind and deaf? I guess deaf would be the one that impacts that. Like
she learned how to hand signal.
That I looked up. I was like, how is she communicating with people? She would literally. People would make symbols in her hand, or she would.
Really?
Because you can't see, so you can't sign to her, and she can't hear. Talk about a bad hand dealt to you. Jesus,
it's one of the worst.
Yeah, dude. And then
outside of It Follows.
It's a pretty bad hand. If Helen Keller had a demon following her,
she'd be screwed.
Oh yeah, she's not getting away. She can't even see it. She can't hear it.
She wouldn't even make an attempt. She wouldn't know.
She would die so quick. Helen Keller and It Follows.
Let's talk about Helen Keller in various situations. How long she'd last.
Helen Keller. I mean, in today's day, clipped by a car real quick. Especially if you don't have family watching over you. Like if you're alone and you're blind and deaf, the chances of you living long,
there's no way. Yeah,
something bad would happen. Unfortunately, but I don't know. Like I tried to think of Helen. She couldn't drive a car. Obviously, that's out. So she'd have to take public transportation wherever she went.
That sounds worse.
Right. You have no idea where anything like. You can talk to people. You can't hear them. You can't see them. You probably get robbed a bunch if you're in a city.
Oh, God.
Yeah, dude. This is a dark rabbit hole.
What were you going to say about this?
Oh. Remember when a while ago, we were talking about if you're in a relationship with a blind person and they have to feel your face.
Yeah.
There would be a moment.
First of all, do we know that happens? Is that something
it might have been Hollywood that kind of prop that image to us, because I just think that blind people feel people's faces.
There's like a Family Guy cuss scene where they do that.
I've seen many movies. Once again, not a good fact base for this, but where like they feel people's faces and they're like, oh, that's a face. But if you're a disgusting, ugly person, they're like, oh God, what am I feeling? It feels like someone's elbow mixed with a fucking knee. But I was reading about her and the way she communicated. She would do palms, but then she would also feel people's lips when they were talking to her.
Really?
Yeah. Which it's kind of it's amazing that you could figure out words that they're saying by putting your hand to the mouth.
I can't even read lips. I mean, obviously, I don't need to, so I can't. But
right. I feel like the level of adaptability.
If I needed to,
you probably could. If Helen Keller can do it, she's a woman.
Well, she was also super smart, wasn't she?
I don't know. I just wanted to know about how she communicated with people. She could have been a PhD. I don't give a fuck. I just want to know. Yeah.
That sounds impossible. But also Braille sounds impossible. So
Braille I could get more behind. I guess it's shapes of things. So I guess lips make sense, but I feel like lips could be very different.
I feel like there's like 4 lip formations for all words. I just feel like...
When did you do that?
I just feel like there's not a lot of lip formations.
Why?
I feel like, I don't know, you pinch your lips, you open them.
But when you're saying stuff...
I'm just going to start feeling my lips when I'm talking.
I guess I don't know. But like, I don't know. The point of this story is that it sounds almost fake, but obviously I guess it's real, of her communicating. We know of her probably because of her academic achievements or inventions or something. I've heard her name many times before. All I know is she's blind and deaf.
Whole units on her in school.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't know.
I obviously didn't retain much. But
other than her being blind and deaf.
Yeah.
I guess. What if it was just average stuff she did, but because of her disability, we learned about her as like a triumph of person?
I think the fact that she could even come close to functioning as a normal person is an incredible achievement.
Yeah.
That's probably why she's famous. But I feel like she was also smart.
Probably.
This is a great educated take on Helen Keller.
We're just spitting facts here at this medical advice factual based podcast. Watch us get sued immediately after saying that. Okay. Being tarred and feathered. I just have that written down.
What about that?
Was it just a brief period in time where people were doing that? Was tar not around for a long time? Was tar a newer invention?
Wouldn't that just burn insanely bad?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. You literally get 3rd-degree burns all over your body, and then back in those days they probably don't have a chemical solvent to
feather. You don't really need the feathers to add that humiliation. It's pretty horrible.
Oh, you do though.
Before the feathers.
Well, I mean, if you just leave the tar, it's kind of racist.
It's fair.
Yeah. You don't want to be racist when you're tar and feathering someone.
I guess.
But what prompted that, I'm remembering now. I saw a picture from it was a picture taken, like a photograph, so it had to be, I don't know when the camera was made, but probably like 1800s, someone got tarred and feathered. And walking into like a hospital, like people like walking him in, just everything covered.
What do you do after you get, is your skin just gone?
Dude, if you get covered in like boiling tar, yeah.
Do they drop you in a vat of tar?
No, they just take like
paint it on you.
They just take a bucket and they dump it over your head.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then once again, yeah, it's probably one of the. I mean, not comparing medieval times. We talked about this last time, but like they had some bad torture. That one's pretty bad that was around like in the past couple 100 years.
I feel like it's always talked about in a joking context now. I never thought about how horrible that is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to think, once again, you go a little bit farther back, too, you probably don't have a chemical solvent to get rid of that. So, like, nowadays, even with a chemical solvent, say it gets rid of the tar, under that layer of tar, you just have open wound all over. So you're just dumping chemical solvent into that after it gets rid of the tar, and then you probably just die from shock. Like most people that get deep burns. I wonder
who the most recent tar and feathering was.
That'd be a good one to look up. But also, like... Who's doing that?
I'll look it up.
Yeah, dude, fucking check that out. Because I kind of want to know.
Probably some college kids.
Oh my god. Just like fucking some weird frat hazing thing where they tarred and feathered somebody. I think that stuff started around like, this is a total guess, but when Britain was still here and we were like around the Revolutionary War.
First result, June 2020.
No way.
Jesus Christ.
No. Who was it? What's the situation, man? Give me the news.
Oh, my God. Oh, wait. This can't be right.
Why?
Oh, there's some horrible pictures.
Oh, God. Yeah, I can't even imagine what that brought up in terms of Google Images.
All right, all it says, June 2020, multiple graves and memorials to Confederate soldiers were tarred and feathered, so not people.
Oh, okay.
That's misleading. But also just, God, this guy looks rough.
How's it like burn victim from being tarred and feathered? Oh, God.
Yeah, his skin's like peeling off.
Yeah. But I mean, the first time I ever remember hearing about that stuff was when we were doing like history units on Revolutionary War, all of the old wars that kind of like started off in this country. There was like politicians being tarred and feathered. Talk about a crazy, like, if someone was just a tar and feather senator today and people were like, yeah, deserved it, that's pretty wild.
Dude, that's a good way to keep politicians in check.
Dude, we've talked about this multiple times, how like the government is all powerful, but you look at like communist places where every time the leader eventually gets killed by the people. Most times, not every time. The people, like Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, like the people will literally come together and just bust into a palace and hang them in the middle of the square.
I feel like it's just the organization of the people is lagging the government, so the government will have power for a certain time.
Yeah.
Once the people catch up,
that's
get
what
their
I'm
shit
saying.
together.
If it ever comes down to it, people tend to be like, nope, we're getting rid of this evil, like right now, in the most absolute way.
Yeah.
There's a fucking video of, which it's kind of fucked, Saddam Hussein being hung, and even to the last minute where they're dragging him into the square wherever they're hanging him, he's like, some guy is yelling some shit, and he's like, I think he just says, fuck you. Like
Saddam Hussein does?
Yeah, he's like, how we, in my head, I imagine like someone being like, no, don't kill me. He's just like, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah. When you're him,
I guess
you gotta know there's no way out.
There's no way saving yourself.
Yeah.
It's wild to see someone being like, they're about to die, being like, fuck all you. It's, dude, it's kind of funny.
It's a tough way to go out. Just hating everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, he's also Saddam Hussein.
Yeah,
so
he was also bad.
He already just...
Yeah, I'm more on the side of the people who hunt. I mean, not advocating for people killing people, but like...
I feel bad for Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, dude, I want to bring some empathy to his side of the story. You know what's crazy? And this is kind of... I didn't learn this until recently, but Osama bin Laden, right? We all know him as like the terrorist guy who Taliban, all that stuff. You know, like his family...
Don't tell me there's a soft side.
No, not to him specifically.
Okay.
But his family would be like the Rockefellers in America. Like they're...
Really?
Osama bin Laden's like the crazy kid. Like they're all like giant millionaire people who are like, our son's just a fucking terrorist.
Wow.
It's weird.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like he comes from a background of extreme wealth and just was like, fuck America. Well, I mean, we weren't, we were over there doing things to cause that at the same time. But I thought like he would be from a family of also terrorists or something. It's just a family being like, yeah, that one crazy son.
It's a nice terrorist family sitting down for
just
dinner.
all casually hanging out, just chilling with RPGs.
Yeah.
Have RPGs not been like just printed on the terrorist image? Whenever I think of
RPG on the shoulder. Yeah.
It's just always like in a desert, there's someone has an RPG and they have just like face coverings. There's like always an RPG. I guess maybe it's just the era
Who gave
of
us that image.
That's true. The fucking government. All right.
Also, 2007, most recent actual tar and feather.
All right. You got the story?
Loyalist group in Northern Ireland was linked to tarring and feathering of an individual accused of drug dealing.
Ooh.
That's all I got.
Some fucking like, I don't want to call it prison justice, but some like local justice.
Seemed like a, off the books kind of job.
Yeah. Like people taking care of their own. But at the same, what if it's one of those stories where the guy's just like selling weed and a bunch of like, suburban dads are like, we're going to go tar and feather this guy.
Is that an Irish accent there?
Nah, it's so bad.
I heard a little bit.
Go tar and feather him. That's worse.
More.
Hey, my Lucky Charms. That's all I got.
Right,
fuck.
Cut that.
Yep, cut it. All right. This is kind of a controversial topic that I've brought up in many spaces. It doesn't get received well. Zoos.
Okay.
What's your feel on them?
What's my take on zoos?
Yeah, I don't want to go in with any bias before I get your opinion on this thing.
Yeah, I've heard the take of like animal science people that it piques interest in animal science among people. It's just taking the positive view.
Yeah.
And it's good for kids to be able to, kids and adults or anyone
like
really,
have exposure.
Just to see that. But on the other hand, you're imprisoning animals that shouldn't be here.
Yeah. I see both sides. I definitely feel more strongly about the imprisonment side.
Yeah.
We're like, I went to cut. This is what anecdotal stuff, so this doesn't hold true to everyone. There was a guy who was an animal science major at the college I went to. He was on my floor in my dorm, and if he ever listens to this, he's going to know exactly who I'm talking about. But he went and worked at a zoo and was like this big promoter of conservation stuff, and got into a couple like not arguments, but just being like, is it conservation if you're just taking these animals? Like, they'll have the excuse of like, this animal was born and it had no one protecting it. It's like, who's feeding you that information? It seems weird that you just find these newborn things.
Every zoo is like, this animal would be way skinnier if it was in the wild.
Which is, it seems like stories I would feed someone to be like, this is okay. It always seems that way.
Totally. Well, it's like no one asked, but they say it anyway.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, it would have died. I'm like, how do you know that? You
simply don't.
Like, I've heard stories of like the mother rejected them. Like, how long were you following this? How do you know this information?
Why did the mother reject it?
Yeah, like what?
Because you were right there.
Which sometimes that'll happen. I know that like I saw there's a video. I know what happens in the animal kingdom sometimes where mothers will just reject their offspring.
Yeah.
Some animals more than others just by default. Like the naked mole rat, their offspring will literally try to cannibalize the mother once they're born. So the mother just fucking leaves. So she has a justified reason. Highly recommend going and watching like a small documentary or bits on
naked mole rats.
Oh my god! Talk about like hell spawn. Like, dude, they're so like talk about something coming into the world so evil that it just attacks its mother.
Really?
Yeah, wow. Dude. So much that the mother's like, no, dude, I'm out, and just leaves the fucking nest, and then they live. They're so mean. They just live in this world. Ugh. So anyway,
people have those as pets. Don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Jeez.
I don't fucking know. Maybe you can like condition them though. Like raise them to be good naked mole rats.
Yeah.
Go against their inner evil. Saw a video recently of a crane in a nest, and it's fucking sad, dude. There's like 3 babies in the nest, and it has decided that if all 3 babies, like, it can't provide enough food for all 3 babies, so it just throws one out of the nest.
Oh my god!
Like for like super high
just
up,
cut
just
it off.
picks it up, just drops it.
Don't even sugarcoat it.
Yeah, because it's like, if I don't do this, all of them will die. It's crazy to see that calculation in a bird of being like,
how do you think it picks? Think it just picks at random?
It's like, this kid fucking sucks.
Dude, I feel like it probably does.
Yeah,
I feel like it takes a little evaluation.
There's a decision made in that bird's brain of being like, which one do I like the least? And it just picks up and throws it off a fucking...
Dude, the whole thought of animals deciding things.
Yeah, dude.
Just bananas.
Dude, there's still arguments out there that like animals are... Like, I know that we're pretty crazy in comparison to other animals and what we can do. But dude, it's like people still believe that animals don't have emotions, which is fucking so crazy to me.
Dogs totally do.
That's one of the most direct examples. But like, a lot of it's propaganda for like meat production, so we can like dehumanize like cows and pigs. Some of those animals are way smarter. Like pigs have an intelligence level of like a 6-year-old. Like, they can do math.
Oh yeah,
they're extremely intelligent, and
we're very smart,
and have extremely like deep emotional responses, and we like torture and slaughter them in terrible, terrible ways. So it's weird. I don't know where we're going with this though. Zoos. So anyway, I feel like the big zoo, is feeding us a bunch of lies about how like this is what they needed. Because you think about before humans were here, animals didn't need us. They were fine.
Yeah.
They were doing everything fine.
But, I mean, animals also don't take care of their own as much as humans do. Like, we compensate for...
I don't know if that's true. Like, what animal do you think of?
I mean, you just talked about a bird that just dropped a kid off the nest. Like, human would never do that.
Birds are almost dinosaurs to me.
Yeah.
Like, I group them into, like, alligators, crocodiles, reptilians. But like, the more you get mammalian, cows, monkeys, they tend to take care of their kids like for the whole thing. Mom and dad. I know some animals won't have. The dad will go and keep fucking other shit, find other mates. But there's a lot of examples of like companionship between the mother and the father, raising their offspring and taking very good care of them. So
No, monkeys, I think I mentioned this last time. That feels wrong. Just seeing a monkey in a cage.
Yeah, because it looks like
It's a person in there.
3/4 of the way to a person. We're like, huh, this is so strange. Or like I've seen videos where like a pregnant woman will go to a zoo and be like up against the glass, and the monkey will go or it's typically a gorilla, will go and get its child to show the mom its child and be like, this is my baby. It's dude. They understand on the level that's like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they react to magic tricks. You ever seen that?
Yeah, we're like, oh my, that one video where that monkey freaks out. I'm telling you, we're gonna like with a lot of things.
We should draw the line at mammals. Don't cage mammals.
But everything else just gets fucked.
Yeah,
it's
and
weird.
Cats. I don't like cats. I feel like cats.
Oh fuck you! I love cats, dude. Cats rule, man.
They're so much worse than dogs.
No,
emotionally, they just don't give a shit.
We can agree to disagree, but I think you're very wrong.
Oh shit!
I grew up with cats, and it's I truly
That's
believe.
tough, dude.
Hear me out. Hear my point on this. I was kind of in a similar boat as you until I was like 13 and my parents got cats, because most of the times when I went to a friend's house where they had cats, the cat's like off in the distance, hiding under a bed, antisocial. It hisses at you, like, you know, It's like, why do you have this thing? This thing hates everyone in the house.
Sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we got our own cats and raised, like, my family's very loving and caring. They end up like dogs. Like, they literally come over to you, they roll over, they want to be pet, they come and like chill with you. They literally act.
Yeah.
And here, this is the point I'm trying to make. We raise dogs in a certain way, but we don't cats. And I think that's where the stigma comes from of like, oh man, cats suck. It's because we see them as this thing that's like antisocial and doesn't want to be loved, when in all actuality, they're way more similar to dogs in that sense, where they want that companion and they want to be pet and they want to lay and they want to play with you. Like, I've learned that from growing up with them. Be like, oh fuck, dude, changed my mind entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I promise you, it's real.
I mean, the way you just described that, you're basically like the best cat as a dog.
But I'm saying that the dog is the dog because of the care you give it. Because of the care that we give dogs and the stigma we expect from dogs of like, this is man's best friend. You know, the saying, you don't say that about cats. We put that pressure in that animal, not on cats. We go, it just does what it wants. You know, there's no control there. It doesn't love you. It's just there because you feed it. And when you apply that logic to it, you'll get that. I'm telling you from an experience of living with them, where we got the cats and like, it's just going to go hide under a bed all day. And then it did the polar opposite. So, but that's just my 2 cents. It's your opinion. And I don't want to, I can see where you're coming from, because I've seen the situation from like, why would you have this thing? So anyway, did you have dogs growing up?
I had a dog.
Okay. So yeah, no bias there.
I mean, I don't hate cats, but dogs are so much better. Like, I would have a cat probably.
Yeah. It's also, dude, I'm like trying to sell you cats now, but the convenience of a cat. Man, especially
you can leave them alone.
Literally, they go to the bathroom by themselves.
They just know how to do it.
Yeah, dude. As kittens, we had.
That's awesome.
It's so fucking sick. Where you like, my parents just got a dog in the past 2 years, a little Chihuahua. It's like a mutt, so he's like a little thicker Chihuahua. But like, you gotta take it on walks, fucking 3 times a day.
Yeah,
poops. You gotta pick up poop. Fucking, it needs to go out. Like, you got to get that thing to work, otherwise it just gets fat. Yeah. Cats can get fat too, don't get me wrong, but the maintenance required is just like zero on those things. Yeah. So, anyway, we've gone so far on this topic of dogs versus cats. Audience, you let us know in the comments what dogs or cats or cranes.
It's just going to be dude, just fiery tanks.
Fucking saying some wild shit like elephants or something.
Elephants are awesome.
I guess we were talking about zoos, and the more and more we see stuff like SeaWorld instances, we're like, the killer whales is the best example, because there was that one that killed that woman, but then that opened this can of worms of all of these killer whales all over the world, or any kind of animal that's used to like trekking an entire sea over its lifetime that you put in like a 50 by 50 container. And the killer, I don't know if it's other ones, but I would assume so, their fucking fin on top starts drooping
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that in Free Willy.
It's fucking crazy.
I was surprised.
Free Willy was on top of this, and I totally forgot about Free Willy.
Remember that?
They knew. They like,
it was a droopy fin.
oh man, and it's literally for that reason.
That was the first time I saw it. I was like, why is it like
you'll
that?
never see that in the wild.
Wow.
Ever. It's literally from the condition they're
they
in.
just don't
They
need
just
it?
deflate as an entire being. Like they're, and then they start killing people because they're like, let me out. They go crazy, man. They're used to going thousands and thousands of miles in like a year, and then you're stuck in like a box like this, smaller probably.
It's like us working from home.
Yeah, dude, we're the
insane.
killer whales of this world. We're essentially stuck in SeaWorld with our cushy apartments, and
Except no one's forcing us to do it.
I know we're doing this wholly by ourselves. So, all right, I need to end this point. But the point of all this is that I see more of that stuff, and I go, are any of these animals really happy? Like these animals that are used to giant open fields.
I mean, you ever seen a sea lion show?
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, but like,
Dude. They do so many dope tricks.
They're so cool. But
they seem happy.
But like, I think it's just
Tell me they're happy.
It's do you want me to? I'll give you this. They're happy. We'll move on. I won't fucking go on this point anymore.
Oh, dude, I was blown away. First
It's
sea
amazing.
lion
Dude,
show I
same
saw.
thing with the killer whales. They'll do this stuff where like they'll push them out of the water at 30 miles per hour. They're standing on the tip of their nose, and they'll do like flips off of one, and then one will like catch them in the water and push them back up. It's fucking crazy.
We're just making them do it, though.
That's the thing. We're literally this thing in the wild would never ever do this.
It makes me happy when they just throw at fish, though, and they just eat the fish.
Yeah, that's fine. Feeding it's cool.
Yeah.
But like, come on, man.
Well, I guess my point is, it's reaching its full potential by balancing a ball on its nose.
Oh my god!
It would
You're
never
like fucking like Tiger Woods' dad. Like, we got to train this 3-year-old to be the best at this thing.
Yeah, it would never do that in the wild.
That's true. It would be really cool if like we took these animals that we trained in zoos and released them into the wild, and then their genes caused other offspring in the wild to start like doing ball tricks. So like generations later, there's seals just like passing balls around.
Just in the wild.
Yeah, just like I don't even know how they got a ball.
And they just go to the plastic island and just find
like
something.
this is the fucking best.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
So sea lions, it's cool. Everything else, not cool.
It's the mammal thing, man. Well, I guess killer whales are mammals too, which is a weird one. They're like giant.
Yeah. So are sea lions.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when I see a sea lion, I'm like, oh, mammal. But then when I see like a whale, it looks so much more like a fish thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. And then there's like, a whale shark is still a shark, right? I think.
Yes.
I think that's still a fish. Yeah. All right. That was a bit of a tangent. So zoos. Oh, that's a dark one. I don't even know if I want to talk about that.
Way to just interest me in what you're about.
All right. Well, I gotta just.
All right, throw it out there.
A couple weeks ago,
We'll see.
within the past couple of weeks, a teacher got shot by a 6-year-old.
I did see that.
Yeah. And then I was reading more about it because I'm like, a 6-year-old? I guess you're pretty like functional at 6. But then reading the stories,
how old is it? That's kindergarten?
Yeah, kindergarten, first grade,
6-year-old
around there.
Shooting a gun?
Shooting a gun.
Blowback? How do you even...
You gotta think about, some of the school systems are so fucked. But I was reading the story, and the teacher was like, word got around that the kid had a gun. And like, so there was multiple, or like the students were talking about to the point where both the teacher and some of the staff knew, and the teacher was like, you need to search his backpack. And an administrator was like, we're not searching his backpack. Quickly after, got shot by the kid. I was like, oh, dude, that administrator is so fucked.
Oh my
you literally
God.
were like, don't do that. And then the kid has a gun. Wow. Talk about like the fastest firing of your life.
Yeah.
Like, but it's weird.
How did he get it? His parents not lock it up?
Probably just parents thing. It didn't give that information in the story. It just read like what actually happened in the school. Yeah, it's weird, man. I would have never thought that young.
I feel like it's weird you say people were talking about it. I feel like when I was in grade school, I remember some rumor like this kid's going to bring a gun to school. It obviously didn't happen.
Yeah.
Did that ever happen with you?
Yeah, with bombs though. Not a gun. We're like which it's always like the kid, not to profile someone, but in high school, there's always a weird kid. There's always someone who's a little off. Yeah. Not saying that it's a bad or good thing, but something's off in the person. And like it's weird because typically in school situations, you've been seeing this person every day for 9 months in a year. Mm-hmm. And then like you can just tell that this person's,
you know a lot about.
Yeah, if there's something not right.
If
like
you're not friends,
you can get a good enough vibe typically in 9 months of seeing someone every single day.
Yeah.
But there would always be like the rumor would be pointed at that person, so it made it that more like, fuck. There definitely was. There were times where someone called in and said, "I'm gonna come shoot up the school."
Oh my god!
But it never happened, and it was. I mean, shitty as it is, it was cool because my mom would be like, "You're not going to school." And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Because then we just get like a week of not going to school. Yeah. But so I guess that stuff was like starting to happen, maybe big as we were getting. That was like high school. So I don't know. It's weird that a 6-year-old did it because up until then, I'm like, teenagers maybe.
Aren't they going to try them as an adult?
Well, that was the thing. They're like, we don't know if we want to set the precedence that we can start trying people who are 6 years old because their mental capacity doesn't understand the law at all. Dude, it's...
Or just the ramifications of shooting someone.
That's what I'm saying. It's...
I see movies and it happens all the time.
It sounds fucked up, but it's like, that is the parent's fault.
Absolutely.
You know, like how a 6-year-old dude, you're so underdeveloped. You have no fucking clue what's going on. The fact that...
I'd say it's 90% the parent's fault.
Yeah, like I wouldn't put any like, oh god, listen, vomit. Put any like weight to decision until you're like, I don't know, maybe even at a teenager, man. You're still very like, people should be protecting you. You know, it sucks because we're so far away from that perfect situation.
Gross negligence that a kid could get a gun.
And gross negligence also that a kid would get to the point, a 6-year-old would go, I'm going to shoot my teacher.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, to get
just
a kid...
in how he was raised.
Exactly, man. So it's, with a support system, that would never, ever happen. Unfortunately, that's not the case for the majority of people living in this country, of like having good support systems, mental health care, physical health care. Like, yeah. So we just have more of these. But to see a 6-year-old dude, I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? We're devolving into that. Next thing you know, it's gonna be babies coming out of the womb and just fucking popping the doctor in the fucking room, the same time. The potential's there. I'm not gonna not declare that, I guess. 4-day work week. More countries are starting to
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever like thought about that in a serious way of like, how I'm for it. It sounds awesome. But how would that make sense? Like there's less time of you working. How would that make...
That was Henry Ford. That was a big Ford thing. He's like, workers are more productive in the time they work if they work 4 days a week.
Really?
I think so.
That's... Because, all right, time out. Before you look anything up, I just want to make a comment on this. Henry Ford's like the guy who, like, assembly line
guy, yeah.
Which, like, was industrial work, which, like, the 40-hour work week was, like, established for that time because of those. Because it's, like, it's mindless work.
Yeah.
So it's like, we require this many hours to get this job done. So maybe he was against the grain. Maybe he was, like, all about the assembly line because he could lessen work.
I would imagine you would make less mistakes when you're... I mean, it's still very reliant on humans back then, all the assembly line stuff.
Yeah, true. I understand the side now because I feel like more work requires more, like, creative thought or critical thinking. As opposed to in a factory, if you have to do one movement for 8 hours.
Yeah.
I understand the whole, 8 hours a day, dude. Because it just... We need to move production. We need someone here doing this monotonous task. Now it's like, if I can fix a problem in 3 hours, why should I have to work 8? So I see that side of it. But it seems like cutting a day would just mean that there's just a day you're not doing work. But I guess if you're meeting deadlines, it would matter.
I think you just gotta deliver on what you gotta do. Get your stuff done.
But out of this, more countries are doing it. One country is like actually implementing it now. I don't know. It's probably one of the fucking Scandinavian countries.
They're so ahead of the time.
Dude, they're all of them. They have paternal care for 9 months or like a year.
Really?
So you have a baby, you and your wife get paid by the government to just chill and raise a child.
Damn.
Dude, that's the kind of place where 6-year-olds don't shoot their fucking teachers. Because you have the time to like actually pay attention to your child.
Oh, okay.
What you got?
4-day work week sounds progressive, but it isn't. Nearly a century ago, Ford Motor founder Henry Ford determined that manufacturing employees could actually churn out more car parts by working fewer hours.
Nice.
As a result, he trimmed their work week from 6 days to 5.
Also, hey, but for his time,
same concept.
For his
I guess.
time, yeah, that's essentially what we're talking about now. So go Henry Ford, dude. I'll take it, man. It's all about the movement you can do in your time, I guess, towards the greater good.
I guess that was a progressive thing at the time. A 40-hour, 5-day work week.
Yeah,
was a shorter work week.
I
guess you just got Sunday off.
That's God.
That's tough.
Talk about mess. On this topic, though, did you see that Arkansas recently repealed the child labor laws?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah.
Whoa. What do you mean? Oh yeah.
Literally, there's a funny photo of the senator who signed the bill or repealed the law or bill or whatever, holding it, and like 10-year-olds in suits next to her. Okay. Everyone else is smiling. The 10-year-olds are just like straight faced looking at.
So what? Kids can just work now?
Yeah. Now you can employ children.
Oh my god. Dude.
Yeah. That's in the United States.
Why? Why'd they do that?
Arkansas, man. They were just like, this seems, get them back in the coal mines. It's the time to do it.
Oh my god.
I didn't know you could just do that.
Why aren't we hearing about this?
I mean, I did. Why aren't you hearing about it? You're not staying up to date with child labor law?
I guess.
Oh no. I don't know. Why would Arkansas do that?
I hope that doesn't spread.
I mean, we're old. Who gives a fuck? I'm just kidding. Now, it'd be really weird to go into a Subway and see like a 10-year-old working. Oh, actually, dude, this is so fucked up. There's more crazy shit. In Wisconsin, I believe, they found like 8 and 9-year-olds working in slaughterhouses. Tons of them. Tons of places breaking the child labor.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. And there's been a big thing. It's weird that story about Arkansas came out recently, but prior to that, recently, they're like, yeah, there's these 9-year-olds, they're just covered in blood and guts at slaughtered houses. That's, I guess.
Dude, you know there's kids working on farms, slaughtering animals all over the country.
I guess that's true. It's just weird. I guess it's weirder to think of them in like a commercial environment.
Yeah.
Where like McDonald's.
It's like a step removed from
you
that.
just go to a drive-thru and there's a kid in there just like has his lunchbox up on the thing. Yeah. Just like, oh, I'll take some McNuggets. And he's like, would you like a Coke with that? As he's crying in the window. I guess if it spreads here, as long as you don't have kids, you're okay. As long as you never procreate or build a family for yourself, you'll be fine.
I mean, it's not like kids are being forced to work.
Well, that's kind of the thing. That opens up the door for parents to be like, you have to get a job.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Or like abusive parents can just be like, and then how does...
Well, what about like the good old days when you just had a paper route? Like people who just... Kids who made bank off paper routes. You always hear about that.
That's true. I feel like that's a glorified thing. That's probably
glorified.
Yeah, we're like, like it sounded always like the neighborhood kid, he's throwing newspapers, just making a couple pennies.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it's a lot of money, and then the reality of as a child waking up at 6 a.m. to go deliver newspapers to. I guess maybe brutal. If you're just covering like a couple blocks or something or a neighborhood, I don't know. But I feel like that's one of the stories told to us to be like, it was better when children worked. And it probably wasn't.
How old do you have to be to get a job?
15. Well, depends on the place. But when I was growing up, if you got a worker's permit, you could be 15.
Okay.
Other than that, 16. Which I got a worker's permit to work at White Castle when I was 15.
That feels like a good age to start working.
I think so. I think it's a good year to be like, time to learn some... I guess it depends where you work.
Some responsibility.
Yeah, it builds some character for sure. Especially if you grew up in like a good family situation, because it exposes you to the world.
Right.
real. I mean, once again, depends where you work, but like White Castle. I grew up in a good family and experienced a bunch of shitheads, but White Castle, man, the people that come through that
West.
place, you just get treated like. I mean, the people I worked with are fine and cool most of the time, but like I worked at a 24/7 White Castle, so I'd work overnight, graveyard shift sometimes, and the people you see from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Whew. I mean,
It's a weird crowd.
it's just weird, and everyone treats you like you're not human. People just like, they'll throw shit at you. They'll fucking just be like mad for no reason at you. Just, it's weird to be in that, but also talk about ego death.
Yeah.
Where like, you think you hot shit, and then you go into a White Castle and work an 8-hour shift, and you're like, I'm nothing. You feel like you're in the caste system, where you're like an untouchable. Where people come up to you.
I kind of want to try that.
Nope. I mean, you can.
I want an ego
You can
death.
easily apply at White Castle.
Should I just pick up a White Castle sidekick?
It's also, you know what White Castle smells like. It's a very distinct.
I can smell it right now.
Dude, working there and just sitting in that, you smell like it. It never comes off, man. You just smell like White
I
Castle.
still smell like it to this day.
Oh, God. I've never had a slider, ever. And I worked there for
Really?
3 years. Yeah.
They're so good.
They just look so, like.
They're so good.
They
dissolve
I've
in your
made
mouth.
so many. And they're just like goo that melts into a bun.
Hell yeah.
I've eaten their chicken rings, they're just like chicken nuggets in the shape of a ring.
That's weird.
Yeah, they're okay. But that's the only thing I've ever. And their fries. Their fries are crinkle cut and fucking slap.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think everyone needs to work a job at a young age in one of those fields, just to be like, oh my God, people are out here doing this as their life. They're like their main income. It's fucked up. And on the other end of that, I worked at a doggy daycare where it's like, I'm in a big room. There's like an indoor playground, probably 50 dogs all in one spot, and a TV with Netflix and a bed. And you just get to sit there.
Oh, that's sweet.
It was the best. Oh my God, dude. Like I would show up hungover after partying all night and just chill with dogs and watch Netflix and get paid to do it.
That's perfect.
Was any other addiction, but it's weird to think about like,
That one feels weird, isn't it?
yeah, it's just like I can't stop
So many
betting
people.
money. But it's all about the rush. Like it's not about the money you win. It's not about the money you lose. It's all about like the suspense of
It's because
what's the
you
outcome.
win and you did nothing to earn it. That's why it feels good, I think.
I don't know. But they're losing so much more than they win. That's the thing. So they're just chasing the high of getting
but
that money, but then they
chasing
immediately just put it back in, and they always lose it all. No one's beating the casino. The house always wins, man. What the hell is this? Abdul Wali, I think that's saying that right, turned himself into CIA, being falsely accused as a terrorist to clear his name, and they brutally tortured him for 3 days.
Whoa.
During the era of weapons of mass destruction, we got to go fight terrorism. Those days, you know, they had the Patriot Act, which was like, we can now do anything. This guy went to go turn. Someone accused him of being a terrorist, and he had no connection. I was reading about this guy's story. He's just like literally a normal person.
Who accused him?
The CIA. They're like, we think this guy's a terrorist. So he turned him.
The smartest organization in the world.
Yes, the Central Intelligence
got
Agency.
fooled.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit, he's just a guy. But he turned himself in. He was like, I have nothing to hide. I'm known. And they tortured him for 3 days brutally. Waterboarding, like physical torture, like,
Oh my God.
yeah. And it was just a person. Dude, that's so bad.
When did this happen?
Probably like, I don't know the date, but probably 2003, 4, pretty quick after 9/11.
I feel like we waterboarded a lot of people.
Oh
back
yeah,
then.
yeah. I mean, you ever seen a picture when they like do what it looks like in like a anatomy of when you're getting waterboarded?
No.
It's like, because whenever I see people get waterboarded, I'm like, I know that it's supposed to simulate drowning.
Yeah.
But I never really got why. Because you have a thing on your face, water's going it's going over you, but a little bit in you. But they put you at an angle so that.
Oh, it goes down into your nose.
Yeah, and so like you have probably an inch pool just sitting in the back that's giving you like a millimeter of space to breathe actual air. So like you constantly have a pool of water in the back of your esophagus, and like so you're essentially drowning.
Yeah,
you are, but you have just enough. Whoever figured that out, genius.
Yeah,
because it won't kill you. I mean, you'll get extreme PTSD and be just damaged as a person probably. But
dude, there's this book, Talking with Strangers.
Okay,
they talk about terrorists and waterboarding.
Yeah,
and apparently there was one guy who just knew how to like open
game the system,
open something.
Yeah,
so it would just flow right through him, and he would just laugh while they were waterboarding him. He just wasn't even scared.
I wonder if you've seen people who can like chug a beer in 2 seconds by like opening their throat.
I wonder something along those lines.
Can you imagine he was just a party frat bro, and he's like, "Oh, bro, I got this. Just waterboard me, bitch."
Yeah,
just dumping water into him.
Apparently, he was like the most badass terrorist of all of them, like the big head honcho guy.
Who could just deal with waterboarding?
He could just take it.
He's slamming Bush Lights back home. Yeah. He's just crushing Bush Lights.
Maybe. I don't know where he was from. He's a Cuban terrorist, I think.
Yeah, my people, dude. Yeah. My dad's from Cuba.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Akin to this terrorist.
They talk about, speaking of this, the CIA just fucking up, they talk about how Fidel just played the CIA left and right.
Really?
Yeah, just their spies were way better than our spies.
Hell yeah, Cuban blood, brother. Dude, it's weird. It's also cool. I want to go to Cuba at some point because like they have the embargo happened around 1950 or whatever. So all of their stuff is from 1950. They just kept taking care of cars from the 1950.
Oh,
so if you go there, it's just all cars from the 1950s.
Like time travel.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I mean, half the country's in like there's buildings like that are just torn apart. It looks like Detroit everywhere.
Oh god.
But there's some nice parts with 1950s cars that look pretty cool. But we can go there now. It wasn't like that for a long time, or you literally just couldn't fly there. Oh yeah, this is something that happened a while ago when I was traveling to Salt Lake City a bit ago, and I was have you seen this movie? It's Matt Damon, Adam Driver, forget the woman's actress's name, but it's like this old French story about these three people and their side of a story that involves Adam Driver potentially raping the woman. It's like in medieval times.
Never seen this.
It is so good, and I watched it on a plane. On a flight, you're typically like just gonna throw something on, hope this is good, whatever's new. Solid, so good. It's like truly, you see the story as the person on each side. Okay. And at the end, you really don't know who to believe. But it's also like they're both like knights that go to war, and they have like these, the whatever battles they like jousting,
old-timey Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah, dude, and it's so well done. And in it, there's a very brutal rape scene.
Oh god!
And on a flight, my TV's right in front of me.
Oh no!
And there's two people next to me, and I'm just like the immediate.
You just look at them like sorry.
I'm not gonna say anything. Be like, I'm so sorry for this movie I'm watching. But
kids, were there kids around?
No, there's an extremely overweight lady, and then a guy, just a normal dude.
Okay.
I felt so bad for the overweight lady because she was on my left, and she was kind of like overflowing out of her seat, and she was like trying to not touch me, and I wish she would just be okay with her fat touching me, because it was like, whatever, man, you're sitting, like, it's fine. But I could tell that she was having a bad time, knowing that she was like kept shifting around, like, fuck, dude,
that's tough.
I know, man, I felt so bad. And then she sees the brutal rape, and then she's probably like, oh, fuck this guy. this guy's a fucking monster. But that happens the immediate physiological response that happens in those situations where I'm like brutally embarrassed for no fault of my own. Where I'm like, I start sweating and getting hot. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just.
It's kind of, you wouldn't let a kid into a R-rated movie. But like the fact that you can just play those on planes when a kid could be anywhere.
Dude, talk about a wild person if like you have like a 10-year-old sitting next to you. See that? I would probably
play it. But like behind you, I guess you should check your surroundings.
Yeah, if a kid if they're behind me, I probably wouldn't.
Dude, I've watched people's movies like 4 rows ahead of me.
What are you doing? Why aren't you watching your own movie?
I glance at them.
Mind your own business, dude.
All right, dude.
You're the kind of people that I hate them. But no, if a kid was next to me, I definitely I would turn it off. I couldn't.
Worst thing to watch around people.
That you don't know.
Yeah.
And that they just see you watching this being like,
yeah.
Nice. It's such a weird feeling, man. But it's like, I didn't make the movie. Why do I feel bad about this?
Just apologize.
I wish I could just be like, I didn't know there was going to be rape. I didn't know.
You should have just announced it to the plane.
It'd be funny if the person asked me, was like, he's watching the rape movie. Get him. Just get fucking like duct taped to my seat. Yeah. Fuck. But I'll find the name of that movie. Highly recommend it. Oh, no, I'm recommending shit. I promise you this one's good.
Just don't watch it with me.
That was so good, dude.
All right.
No, but yeah, you should watch it.
All right.
I'll find it. But it was one of those ones that was like, you know, the It Follows movie was definitely a like, I love horror movies, so there's a reason why I love this movie. I went into not knowing anything and it just being a movie, and I was like, oh shit,
dude,
good story.
It's magical when you can get like a group of people and find a movie like that none of you have seen, and it just turns out to be awesome.
Can you think of one that you've?
Nope.
No, not one. Oh man, makes me.
I can think of like YouTube videos, well, not specifically.
Oh yeah, but we're talking a full feature film.
Yeah.
So people are sitting for like an hour and a half at least, and being like, "That was all good."
I mean, I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once
recently.
Yesterday.
How do you like it?
It's pretty good.
Pretty awesome, right?
Did you like it?
Yeah, dude, I loved it. I thought that was like
very powerful.
Very, very, very. I also think they did a really good job of like, as something's approaching a climax in a scene, they go like it diffuses really quickly. Yeah. There's like this pattern where like it gets like really to the top and it goes to the next thing. And it does it again. It like climbs so close to the line of like, whoa, and then it goes like down a little bit.
Everything was progressing at the same time.
Yeah, it was like there's like this gradual overall progression, but then there's like these heights and tiny dip, and then heights and then tiny dip. It was such an interesting way of like putting together a film. And I mean, the concept and the visuals and like the whole battle with when it got to the ass part and they're slamming dildos in their ass,
that was crazy.
Amazing. Another movie where I told my parents, this is really good, and they watched it like, it was okay.
Yeah.
But that one I understand, because it's like watching a movie and there's a sex scene with your parents. Not your parents having sex, but a scene in the movie. It sounded weird.
Did not have to clarify that.
It sounded weird in my head. A movie with a sex scene with your parents.
I don't watch my parents have sex.
It's casual, man. Polyamory. That has nothing to do with that.
Get your shit together.
The same fucking words at this point. But it feels like that same, like the butt scene in that movie, Everything Everywhere
So
All
surprising.
at Once. I see in the same vein of a sex scene for parents where they're like, butts, dildos, what? Yeah. Like in their day, anal's probably insane to them. You ever think about that? Where they're like the thought of butt sex, most parents are probably like, of our generation, that was sodomy's a sin in the Bible.
Yeah.
So in their world, my parents grew up, they're not religious now, but there's probably some of that so embedded into their brain of being in like Catholic families of that's bad. It's weird to think about that. But also weird to think about parents and butt sex. So let's move on. Yeah.
Good segue.
So
the fake ending, spoiler, but love the fake ending. That was hilarious.
So
they went all the way into the credits.
Yeah, and then just bring it back.
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome, man. But back to the point. Movie that you showed people that impressed them. I have one actually that happened not too long ago. The Prestige.
I've showed that to so many people.
Showed it to.
That's my favorite.
Showed it to multiple people that have been like, that was good. I don't think you can go wrong with the Christopher Nolan.
You can't. Actually,
Tenet. I can see Tenet not being a hit.
Dude, I preached Memento for years.
It's a good one.
And my friends watched it. I wasn't there. But they watched it without me, and they're like, that movie sucked. And I was like, damn.
I could see.
So they're like, I didn't care. This I do agree is kind of a valid Nolan fault that I think he overcame with Interstellar, but a lot of his characters you don't care about that much. He does a lot of things more for the mind-bendy, twisty aspect.
Yeah, I feel like he does it.
He suffers in the emotional realm sometimes.
I don't know about that. I feel like he has movies where he does his mind-bending stuff to such an extreme that the common person's like, what?
Yeah.
Memento being one, and Tenet, I think.
Their big gripe with Memento, they're like, I didn't give a shit about the main character.
Interesting. But like, I think of like Inception, the whole Leonardo DiCaprio, his wife, and her and the kids, and him having that situation. Like, by the end, you care about that character,
Yeah.
I feel like. Batman, I guess that's kind of story made for him, though. Like, the story's already there. Prestige, I mean, dude, when you see fucking...
Prestige is so good.
Like, Hugh Jackman realizing that... Fuck, dude. I think...
The Prestige, in my opinion, is the most perfect twist ever in
that
a movie.
one was...
perfectly executed.
Oh, my
and
God.
it's just dangled in front of your face the whole
Amazing
time.
movie. So that's one for sure. I have never shown it to someone and then been like, meh. They're always like,
Yeah, no,
whoa.
I've showed that to a lot of people too.
Yeah. But other ones, I don't think I've like shown Interstellar to anyone. I was just watched and people already knew about it.
Yeah.
And every time everyone's like, oh, it was so good. Oh my God.
It's beautiful.
It's a gorgeous movie. And everything about it, the soundtrack, the visuals, the acting, it's like, how can all this exist at once? It's amazing to see that. But yeah, I can't think of another movie that I've showed people that I'm like, this works every single time. I used to think it was Signs. It's not. Anyway, I feel like we've been talking about movies a lot.
Yeah.
What are we at for time? Hour 51? Do like 15?
Give me one more.
Yeah, we got some more stuff on here. Let's see. This is kind of controversial. Way more controversial than the stuff we've been bringing up.
Oh God! All right.
You ready?
Yep.
This could lose us some followers.
I agree.
It's not an agree or disagree topic.
Oh shit!
Actually, okay. COVID.
Fuck.
So remember in the beginning where we were like, it was a bat. Okay?
Yeah.
And then it was a pangolin, which South Park made a whole episode on about it being a pangolin. Now, and then there was like the conspiracy theory that was made in the lab.
And it was leaked.
Man, was it ever made in the lab? The more and more stuff that comes out, there's a testimony that just happened recently with the ex-head of the CDC who went to the Wuhan site, and there's just this paper trail of them deleting the sequence of it. We have now validated it was from the lab. Mm-hmm. But they deleted the sequencing of the virus. They somehow were able to recover it because they're doing an investigation and be like, what happened here? I'm not a chemist, but or a virologist, I should say. Chemist, probably not. But what the ex-head of CDC was saying on the sequencing they recovered, there's like bioengineered receptors for arginine, which he said that those don't naturally exist on this virus. So that we did something, I've never heard this term before, called gain of function research, to mutate things to use for not good things. So they're like literally bioengineer this thing so it could go to humans. And before, it could not. Oh, okay. And there's the ex-head of CDC saying this in front of Congress like a week ago. Being like, oh yeah, we just released, we don't know if it was an accident or if someone just, if there's a bigger scheme of if we release this, then Pfizer can make $1 trillion and like we can force the world into this deeper pocket of like, give us more control over you because we're protecting you with whether it be mandates or vaccines or whatever it may be. And it's getting, the more and more this story grows, the more it gets like, it seems pretty not good.
Just bioengineered.
It seems more like this was not a like, oh no, this thing got out. It seems more and more like, why were we making this?
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah. So I don't even know what to say.
So what do we do?
I don't know. Like, I guess it's good because we know about it now, and we have someone who is high up in power being like, hey, you guys were doing something that we shouldn't be doing. So that's good.
Maybe more regulations in place somehow will result.
Yeah, I hope so. Some policing of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, why are we... Some virologist out there is probably like, why we do gain... Well, it was weird because that gain of function verbiage, they're like, that shouldn't be a thing anyone's ever doing with viruses.
Really?
Yeah. It would seem like a taboo phrase.
Do you think there's a redeemable explanation?
I don't know. What
I have no idea.
Yeah, what purpose could you have for like making something so it transmits to humans? That's a virus. I can't think of an idea why, but once again, I'm not a virologist. There might be someone out there like, if we give it to humans, then the killer whales can get out of SeaWorld. And they're like, oh, okay.
Ooh,
yeah, I'm sold.
That's good.
Give me it. Then like, yeah. It's just weird. Because
maybe it's like a Thanos type of guy. Need to control the population.
Make some more resources available for the human race by taking out half. Why didn't Thanos just make double the resources with this finger snap?
Was that an option?
But you could do anything with the finger snap. That was the thing. And you get all the things. Yeah,
he could bend reality.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Just make double.
Oh my God. Did you just think of that?
Yeah, dude. You could just be like, oh,
fuck, that movie. It was like the one Marvel movie I liked.
Yeah. It was a big deal. It was like, oh, we got to stop this guy from this plan that he thinks is like, this is the only way to save people. Just make more.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
See, I kind of liked Thanos because he was somewhat redeemable.
And Josh Brolin played him.
Yeah.
Like, can't not like him.
Yeah.
No, like
no, it turns out he's just stupid.
He's just a big dummy, big purple idiot.
Or just actually evil. He just wanted to kill people. I think so.
I mean, I could see more of that where it's like, it's funny, though, how no one brought up.
What if just Iron Man's like, dude, can't you just make more?
That's the thing.
He's like, nope, can't do that.
Oh, no, weird. I can't hear you. He just went all Helen Keller on him and just couldn't fucking communicate at all. It is weird to think that the whole plot of that is that he's going to eliminate half and not just be like, yeah, more.
Maybe, yeah. Shit. I'm trying to defend him here.
Since you've been poking holes in It Follows, I've been looking for more holes in everything. You sparked a fire.
Dude, I could tell you were a little mad when I just kept saying things.
You know what? Let's be honest right now. All right. Let's break it down. There's always a moment. We talked about this before on the podcast. When people identify, they attach their personalities to things where they something so much. And don't hear me out. That's not like my favorite movie.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a good, scary movie. And in context, watching alone, it's okay. It's still, I think it still holds up. But there's that moment when people start being like, like the thing that you like to watch, and they're like, this doesn't make sense. You're like, fuck. But then within 5 minutes of that, I mean, when I was younger, it was different, but I realized how silly.
Yeah.
It just gets more funny. And then it's more fun to hop on the train of like, oh yeah, there's so many ridiculous things about this.
Yeah.
And it makes for a better time doing that as opposed to me hunkering to be like, no, you don't get it. You don't get this. You don't get this story that I'm so invested in. Like,
yeah. I liked it. It was a good movie. The thing is,
give me that.
Dude, I'll do that for any movie, even movies I like. I like talking during movies.
That's the hard thing too. When you get people like you, me, and in a room.
Yeah.
The gift of gab thing goes hand in hand with like, it's hard to just sit and be with people that you like to socialize with and just not say anything.
Dude, I love watching things with people and just throwing comments out there.
Yeah. It's the best.
Unless it's like really, really something that I really want to watch.
Yeah. It's fucking... It makes it that much better. A good example of something that I love so dearly, but and I will comment on the whole thing and think so much of it is funny, but at the same time, I think it's like one of the best series ever is Lord of the Rings. Okay. There's so much there's so much goofy shit. And I've watched The Fellowship, but it's also... The story is amazing. I've read the first 2 books as well, and everything about those books, that story, the guy who made it, who was a linguist, who made an entire multiple languages in the
that's insane.
The world building of that thing is insane. It's like as if someone wrote an act, like it reads like a history book. Yeah. I mean, not in the interesting way, more of like it seems like fact. Like what the fuck? It's insane.
He backed his shit up.
Yeah, dude. And then the movies were masterpieces, I think. I think they aged super well, and Peter Jackson did a great job. But the whole time we'll be laughing about like shit people are saying or how Gimli looks because he looks like a fucking doofus.
Yeah, when Sam almost drowns from like 4 feet of water at the end.
And Frodo just being a bitch the whole time. Yeah. Like, Sam, help me, Sam. And Sam's like, fuck, dude. Yeah. I'll just carry the whole thing.
And there's the whole like, where were the eagles the whole time?
Well, that's an easy one to put down. Because if you fly the eagles in there, the Eye of Sauron sees them, and then you just take them out with Nazgul.
Oh, okay.
Drop a lot of terms on you, but yeah,
I was late to Lord of the Rings. It wasn't like a childhood movie for me.
Yeah. God, I was like, yes.
They're good. They are good movies.
I think they're solid, man. It's also a good, like...
We're just back on movies.
I know, dude. We just circled right back. They're so good, though. Dude, I feel like not to be all hipster about it, but I feel like I'm truly a cinephile. Like, I've watched so many movies, and there's so much good, like, stuff out there. Yeah. I keep thinking that I've hit, like, the threshold. I'm like, oh, I'm never going to find a good one again. And then I find another one, like, oh, fuck. It's insane how many original ideas can exist.
Yeah.
Because I would think, like, we would hit a cap, and it would just be done. Like,
you
everything.
You don't think we've kind of hit a cap?
Everything, everywhere, all at once. I felt like that was new. It was still in the realm of, like...
new-ish.
Like the multiverse shit.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. That, but... I'm trying to think of one that I saw where I was like, whoa. But it has happened in the
It's nice when you get a refreshing take on something that's been done before.
Yeah. Or it's fun, too, because we keep having, like, stories that were, like, ages old from other... Like, Parasite's a good example. You ever seen that, the Korean film?
No, I haven't.
Dude, check
I've
that
heard
one out.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Fuck, what was the original thought before we got back to movies?
Oh, shit.
Oh, talking about It Follows, but that's also movies.
No, there was something before that.
I don't fucking remember, dude. Hold on. Oh, we were talking about the COVID thing. That's not going to spike. Okay, we'll talk about one last thing.
Yeah, let's close on a nice, light, and easy one.
Okay. Like
or just drop the hammer.
Like highway fatalities are up 22%. Oh, because people suspect it's smartphones. That's a silly one. All right. This is maybe not dark, but interesting. Prostitution.
Okay.
So in most places in the world, it's illegal, right? And so when talking about something laterally but not, drugs, when they have fully legalized it in places like Portugal and a couple other countries, and they treat it as like a mental health issue,
yeah,
addiction goes down. But so I was like, okay, maybe in legal places with the prostitution, you know, the kind of bad world that surrounds prostitution, like pimps and human trafficking and all the coercing people into sex for money, goes down. But the numbers show the opposite. They show like places where it's legal, human trafficking goes way up. So it's kind of like a weird, because because it in my opinion, and looking at the data, it looks like it opens up a gray zone of like, how do you prove that you human traffic this person for sex when it's allowed here? So if you get them in,
just say they wanted to, they signed up
right, or you like, you know, coerce them into also say, oh yeah, I wasn't right. Yeah, or how are you tell they're not brainwashed, as opposed to it being illegal somewhere, and then people bring them. It's weird. But then there was also a disparity between middle income countries, not middle income, but in the middle of how much money they have, don't have nearly as much human trafficking as places that have way more money. And
what about way less? Specifically the middle?
They didn't cover that one. But I guess not enough to mention in the stuff that I was reading. But the reason the high money does is because they request like women or men, I guess it goes both ways, from other places as like an exotic product essentially. But that encourages way more human trafficking because you're literally going, I have this money, go get me this type of person so I can have sex. And then that situation is way more risky in terms of like grabbing people from places that don't want to come there.
Okay.
So the issue may lie in that, as opposed to like,
this is so heavy. This is the heaviest.
Sorry, man. I was reading this today and I was like, this is so interesting. Because in my head, I'm like,
that is surprising.
Yeah, in my head, I'm like, if we legalize stuff, the dark part of it, like cartel, you legalize drugs, all of it becomes legitimate.
Yeah.
There's no more horrific like wars against these things. It's just businesses competing then. But then prostitution.
So no gun laws.
We talked about this last time, dude. It's the one thing made to kill people, so it's a weird outlier for me. I don't know what side I'm on.
Is the difference with the drugs and the human trafficking where there's like the drugs you're doing it to yourself, the user of the drug. But the human trafficking, there's a clear victim that isn't part of the system.
Yeah, I guess there's more autonomy in that for the person of like, I choose to do this.
Drugs.
Yeah, and you know, people can get addicted and they can, you know, not be totally in your control because you're in a situation that drives you towards drugs. I totally understand that. But I see your point in terms of...
Well, I guess, so what you're talking about with the drugs, I don't know if you also mean this, like, there's places where you can go and safely get a dose of the drug you're addicted to help you wane off of it. Like, that seems like a very productive thing. I don't think there's anything analogous to that with human trafficking. Like,
oh no, yeah, that's a weird one
because it's like a system designed to help the addicts on the drug side. If you legalize prostitution,
I guess
I don't know if that helps anyone.
Yeah, I guess that's the bad side of the drug side, because you can also see the market side of, so go into the drugs legalized world, but non-addict side of it, just recreational users, which is probably the majority of people are recreationally using stuff. Okay. I don't know how many I don't know, but in the prostitution market, there could be people who are addicted to sex in that market. You know, I can't see the only thing I can see is that that's also like, if you're a prostitute, male or female, it's your choice. And who is to say you can't do that to make money? If you want to do that thing, man or woman, want to, you know, have sex with someone and get paid money to do it, who am I to be like, no, you can't do that? Fuck that, dude. We sell our bodies to like businesses to work all day.
Yeah.
Literally, our brain is part of our body.
We all just sell different parts of ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, why do we separate that one? Once again, because I think it's just traditional values that have been so ingrained into most systems that are like, that's a taboo thing. You can't be fucking for money. Yeah. Like, and it gets a bad rap because it's been illegal. So then you just get like the black market version of that, which opens up the door to terrible things. But to the gun point, once again, that thing's made to kill people. That's all it does. There's nothing like that exists anywhere else.
Yeah.
But I keep saying but because I keep contradicting myself. I don't know where I fall on it because I could see a little bit on both sides. It's just weird that the numbers obviously show that the more guns we have, the more people just die from guns. And like school shootings happen and mass shootings happen. Odds are people are going to die from guns. More people get shot. And then people who shouldn't have them get them and do terrible things. So I don't know about that one. Prostitution.
Three separate things.
Yeah, I'd say drugs and prostitution are closer, but gun is such a hard one. And obviously it is because these issues are always talked about and no one's found a really good solution. Yeah. Other than countries who've banned them and not had shootings at all. But then they have stabbings. Oof. Like, which I don't know. Stabbing's way harder than shooting someone.
Yeah.
Like, way, 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 way hard. It's so much more intimate. Like, you're in front of someone, touching them, as opposed to, like, shooting someone from a faraway distance. You also can't, like, I don't know, man. There's so much more physicality to stabbing someone than being like... Poof, poof.
It's easier to run away from a guy with a knife.
Yeah, and have no emotion attached to it. But, like, if you had a machine gun, in 5 seconds, you release 30 bullets into a crowd, it's like, yeah... It's a lot harder to connect, I feel like, with that thing, as opposed to you physically, like, entering someone's body with an extension of yourself being a knife. There's got to be some, like, visceral feeling to doing that.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Ending on a good note. All right. You know how we'll end on a good note? We'll go through the reoccurring stuff that we need to talk about. Pet peeves. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Okay. Because that'll soften the blow of prostitution, guns, stabbings,
You preface that with saying this isn't that dark.
You're right. All right. First one, reoccurring segment. Did you tear up?
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah,
it got me. And
so,
it got me
at the end with the mom
and the scene when, because the daughter is just like nihilism embodied. Like she doesn't give a shit about anything.
Yeah.
And the scene when she just wants to end it all, and her whole family is pulling her back.
Yeah,
that got me. That was pretty good. Very powerful.
It's pretty deep, man.
And then, they follow that with like her and the daughter in the parking lot.
And by the car talking about the whole situation. Yeah.
I like a good movie cry.
It's good, man. It's good to feel.
Yeah.
It's weird to say. I mean,
men should feel things.
Yeah, dude. not to be this like
emotionally.
Men have emotions too, but it's all because I don't know. Unless you're in a relationship, most social situations you're not really. Everything feels kind of numb sometimes. It feels like back to ending on a terrible note. It just feels like people. I feel like this is just kind of common, but like when you're a kid, everything's so like vibrant, like emotion, life, and now it's like the spikes in emotion are just never there, other than a movie cry,
dude,
where you're like you feel something internally. I don't know if I've, dude, just unboxing a whole bag of fucking emotional shit, but I don't know if I've felt like deep emotion outside of like movie stuff in a long time. And like,
have you been fortunate to not have family, friends pass away?
Knock on wood, but only a grandma in the past 5 years, but like no one else. My dad got prostate cancer a couple years ago, so that was something for sure. But then he's cured, so it's okay now. But nothing like, even relationships with women, like breakups just don't. I'm just, not that I'm not invested, but it's after you go through so many, it just becomes less like meaningful. I've been in like, I don't know, 7 or 8 relatively serious relationships, and by like
7 or 8.
I've been dating since I was like 14.
Damn.
So like, and I have a pattern of like dating someone for 2 years, and just like since then, date someone for 2 years, maybe have 6 months off maximum. I'm on to the next thing. This is the longest period I think I've gone without dating someone, which was about a year.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's like the last breakup, man. This is all stuff I'm probably gonna cut out. But it was just. It felt weird to be so disconnected because at the end of it,
it's probably good you broke it off then.
Yeah, but it was weird. Like, it felt strange because it felt not human. Yeah. Where I was like, "Yeah, I just want to end this," and then the person was like, "What?" I feel like I've talked about this before, but it's just strange to be like not having empathy, but not like. I don't fucking know where I'm going with this.
Keep going.
I don't know. It's just it's strange to. It feels numb at this point. Yeah. Where like I've if I probably went to therapy, I could probably like undo this, but I've become so numb to like relationship pain because I have through the relationships experienced tons in the beginning. Whether it be cheating, whether it be breaking up, whether it be
just get through all that shit, and then it's just
not literally. It's not nothing. Like I have such a low expectation of a relationship where I'm like, we'll get to a certain point, it'll be great in the beginning, and then it'll just fall off and become this gradual thing that both of us are kind of like, we just exist around each other, and then eventually someone's gonna fuck up in a way that gives you a reason to just get out and be like, that one, now I'm done. Same thing over and over, and I see it all around me in the same shape with marriages, friends, and relationships.
It's fucking scary, dude.
It's terrifying.
Novelty just wears off with anything.
Dude, I was telling this is definitely getting cut out. I was telling you probably see this in relationships too, where like people, mostly the girl, will be like will say things that are like obvious. They're like statements to be like, I'm not attracted to my husband, or like we'll be hanging out and they'll say a joke and she'll be like, ew. Like that to like the person you're dude. All the time I see it. I'm like, what? What are we doing?
That's their life.
That's what I'm saying. I see that a lot. Dude, like, don't get me wrong. There's some good ones out there that are obviously into each other, but it's people who've just like leveled off at this emotion of just, we're here, we're doing this. That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh my, it fucking terrifies me to see that. I shouldn't say terrifies. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
To be like, oh man, and you think about
it scares me. It scares me, I'd say. Just investing that much time in someone and then it just fizzles out. And
the time part
you've had more of that experience than me. But I'm saying even longer than like 10 years in, like you're married and all of a sudden you're just...
And you have kids. That's the thing. That is terrifying. You're absolutely right. Because it's at that point you're
locked in.
Yeah, and the out has a lot more consequence. Yeah. Like multiple people's emotions on very deep levels of just hurting significantly. So, and maybe we're talking about this now. Maybe that's why I'm just literally not dating anyone. And I'm like, no, this seems good. But I guess it's life and there's no other way. I
mean, we're at a point where we're in between these things. Like some people we know are in that stage, some people are out.
Yeah.
But it's a weird transit. Like eventually we'll be the sad people.
I know. I know, dude.
It's like, is that the point? You just got to find someone and settle down and have kids and have a family. Is that living?
Dude.
Or because at a certain point, we're going to be on the outside, you know?
We'll just live in like an old person's home together. We'll just be like neighbors in an old person's home. Like, still doing the podcast at 90. No, but I heard someone say, forgot who it was, maybe a week ago, a couple days ago, whatever, it doesn't matter. Saying like, people in their 30s don't know that they're going to get old. Like, in terms of physical...
As it's happening to them.
As it's happening. But I think that's just... humans don't have... If we did have that capacity, we'd all live our lives differently. If you're like, I know exactly what this is going to feel like in 50 years. But he was saying that from just a physical standpoint of taking care of each other. Like, when you're fucking old and can't move around or do stuff, and you don't have anyone around you, life is really, really hard. Like, extremely hard. I would like to think I wouldn't become that. Like, I'd maintain my physical state to where I can move around and do stuff. But
you'll get there eventually if you keep living.
You think so?
Wait, what do you mean by like just
like people who like need a walker or like?
Oh yeah.
You think so, dude?
Yeah, dude.
I told you about my 93-year-old fucking great uncle who's like going to the gym every day.
Yeah, but what he's gonna be 108 at some point. Like,
no, but he died. But he still had his physical capabilities.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You either die or you're going to get to that point.
That's what. But I don't want to. I'd rather die than be like, someone needs to wipe my ass. I'd rather kill myself.
Yeah.
You heard it on the pod here. But no, that's most people hit the point where they need someone to take care of them. Like, it has to happen.
Yeah.
If it gets to the point, buying a gun. Immediately. Actually, no, I'd probably do a drug route. Drugs are a lot easier and much more guarantee. People miss their heads all the time. It's fucking... Imagine being that guy.
Just
like,
craze it.
Yeah, they'll put it in their mouth and there's a natural instinct. This is so fucked up because... All right. Side story will not include...
I think we're kind of cutting everything.
Yeah. This whole end part's going to get cut. I don't even know why we're holding the mics.
We'll bring pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, some dump.
Dude, check this out. And it was a dude just walking down the street with his wife's head in his hand.
Oh, God. Wearing like fucking like just some random Middle Eastern country or something like that. Not to profile an entire country.
No, I don't. But it was just like, he was just like ready to get caught. He was just going to.
Just done with it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It is a scary thing about that. There's like some of that.
Actually, no. It was a dude his wife cheated with.
Okay, so someone just like literally lost it. Truly, in a it's weird to think that there's like an exception to some of that stuff in court. A crime of passion. That's like a real thing that lawyers will try to like. Yeah. He was mixed in the moment in like he had no control over himself. I wonder if that's ever worked. Like, he just cut off his wife's head, dude. Like, he was just in the moment. He was just being present.
Probably not. That one feels calculated.
Yeah. There's no way you're getting out of that one. But there's an animal thing in all of us, which is weird. Mm-hmm. Like, I hate to think it, but I would imagine most people have the potential to do that. Could be backed into a corner to do something like that, but...
Cut off your own arm.
I mean, we're talking about 128 hours, guy.
Yeah.
But it's like saving yourself. I'm talking about like in terms of like malice towards someone of being like, man, I hate you so much, I'm gonna cut your head off and walk around the street with it.
And yeah, that dude was ready to just be done.
Yeah. I mean, walking the street, that's pretty... It's like Saddam Hussein saying fuck you to the people who are about to kill him, being like, I know what's happening.
Yeah.
This is all fucking over.
Oh, God.
But Yeah, I don't fucking know. Well, that's a good way to end it. I guess. Wait, I didn't.
How did we get on this? Oh, was it cry moments?
Yeah, it started with the cry moments.
Talked about how you're feeling numb, dude. That was beautiful.
Oh yeah, was it? Because it sounded pretty sad. Of like how dude, I don't feel anything.
Dude, you ever hear the song Jack and Diane?
Yeah, dude, of course, by John Mellencamp.
Yeah. That line hits so hard. Like life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone.
Ugh.
You just keep going.
Can you not do that? No, I mean that's
that
true.
line just hit me hard. Like I'd heard the song my whole life.
Yeah,
one day I was like,
in
shit.
such a like happy tone.
Yeah, I was like,
it's
that's
like
heavy.
It's like the summer of what's the song? The summer of the
69. Is that the?
I think so. No, or maybe it is that song, but it's in the same like tune of that of like poppy 80s music or 70s music. You're like, haha, nice, and it's about just like
you listen to the lyrics.
Oh, I'm so bad about that. I think I've told you this before, but I like playing drums. Maybe it is because of this, but playing drums when I was younger, whenever I listen to a song, it's very rarely that I know the lyrics.
Yeah,
like I'll listen to it. I like the sound of certain things, and so
I'm not a lyric guy.
Like some I know, but most of it's from when I was younger. Nowadays, it's always like the sound of the thing. But there's situations I've been in. One more recently in the past relationship I was in, where there's a song called "Electroshock Death Trap" by like. But it's not. It's just like an indie rock band. Okay. The title's weird, but it's like got a really poppy vibe, and I didn't know what the lyrics were at all. But it's like this song fucking rules, dude. I think that the band's name was like Black Taxi or something. Yeah. Sent it to the girl I was dating, and I was like, dude, check this out. And this is like maybe a couple months in, and the whole song's about like just getting into a relationship with someone and not wanting to be near them because you find out that like you really don't like them.
Ooh.
The whole all the lyrics are that.
This slaps, man.
Yes. And she was like, she literally thought I was trying to tell her something. She's like,
oh, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. And
dude, because that's something you could try to talk your way out of, and she still might not believe it.
Yeah, dude, there's certain levels of like. So I guess the gaslighting portion is way better than.
Said that about when his wife first got pregnant.
What?
He's like, I kind of just hope it's a girl. Because I feel like it's a common take to be like worried about the teenage daughter phase, because that was my argument. I was like
take is a lot more. It's kind of a deep thinking level of it.
Yeah, well, no, because I brought that up. I was like, what about this? And he's like, dude, guys do way worse shit. Guys are crazy.
Yeah,
guys commit most of the crimes.
Well, you think about the opposite you were just talking about. When you have the daughter, you're worried about the guy's stuff. You're not worried about the daughter.
Yeah, that's true too.
You're still thinking about the heinous thing.
Most of the tough teenage daughter phase is because of guys.
We just cracked the code, man.
We're the worst. We suck.
We're pretty bad. Women are pretty cool.
But we're so good at sports, though.
Oh, we're so much better. But, dude, oh my God, I want this to keep going. I have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're gonna keep it rolling. Do you have to be anywhere?
Let me check my phone.
What time is it right now? It's 9:30. All right, we'll go on for like 10 more minutes. I didn't realize it was fucking 9:30.
We got to learn how to edit stuff.
I just got to sit down and do it. That's the thing.
All right.
The past 3 weekends, literally no time to do anything. It's just time has been so little. Anyway, I forgot what we were talking about before this.
Time is relative.
Yeah.
I was thinking Interstellar. I don't know.
Something about men and women and men being heinous, but probably it's about 10 because it's 9:30 at night. All right, fans. Sorry about that tangent. See you next time.